Hi there, folks. My name is Raza Munir. I'm the co-founder of Climb Credit. We are a new kind of education financing company geared towards increasing access to what we believe is high-quality education. And so we started Climb in 2014 against a pretty familiar backdrop to most of you in this room, which is that 40% of people who were starting college weren't necessarily graduating. 65% of those who were graduating were actually struggling to launch their careers after graduation. And at the same time, we found that a lot of programs, associate's programs, certificates, other credentials, were actually doing a better job preparing students for the job market of the future at a fraction of the cost of college. And so what we found was that when we viewed education as an investment, when we took an ROI-based approach on understanding college, we believed that there were more compelling programs out there for us to finance. So let me talk about this ROI-based approach for a second. What we decided was that as financiers, as a student loan company, we were going to look at the cost, time, and effort of attending and view that as a cost or the investment which you were making, and the return on that investment as a combination of factors such as the graduation rate, job placement rate, starting salary, salary differential, and growth over time, which are likely to attain. And when we viewed education broadly from this ROI-based mechanism on a program-specific basis, what we found that the programs which provided the highest ROI were actually those which were best associated with your career progression. And those are programs which led directly to employment or led directly to upskilling. These are programs, and we partner now with over hundreds of these programs across the country in skills from web development and data science through to things like underwater welding, truck driving, heavy construction operation, allied health and nursing programs. And these programs exist across the country, as you can see right over here. So this is the basis with which we started Climb. We also decided that we were going to take a slightly different approach when it comes to the financing piece. Most student lending companies finance schools up front, and sort of the investors carry most of the risk in the transaction. We wanted to align incentives of all parties in the outcomes of the students, so that when the students succeed, schools can also reap the benefit of that. And if schools don't succeed, especially career schools, then we all come around the table and ask what happened over here, because schools are held accountable as well. And so this is the basis with which we started Climb in 2014. We've done over $100 million in loan volume in that time, I'd say pretty healthy margins for the industry. And what we realized, though, through this process, operating in the market for a couple of years, was that the problem which we were dealing with was actually much larger. And that was primarily the constant evolution of the workforce and the increasing skill gap which we were finding in the market. More than half of workers say that they believe it'll be essential to get training to develop new skills and stay relevant. Almost 40% feel affected by the skills gap, and more than half of students said that they would leave a job if it didn't provide the necessary training they would have. At the same time, employers are also struggling with this problem. 66% of them, when we surveyed them, said that they don't actually have a formal process to address this problem. So enter Climb's news phase, what we've been doing for the past 6 months. Now that we work with about 120 schools, which we vetted every single program on an ROI-based perspective, we have students come to us in search of discovering new avenues to employment and new career paths. We introduce them to the right kind of schools, help them get in, finance their education, and help them get jobs afterwards. We take part in the entire professional transformation arc of someone's career. And so what we found is that students come to our platform, review 4 to 5 schools at a time. 70% of students said that they would actually wait to attend school or not attend at all if they didn't find a compelling financing option to attend that program. And ultimately, 60% said that they would consider career guidance and job placement a key factor in their school decision as well. So all this is to say, if you're interested in helping in these problems, please come speak with me. We're backed by some extremely astute, smart capital providers, edtech investors like Learn Capital, financial investors like Goldman Sachs, and impact investors like the Acumen Fund. Thank you very much for your time.